Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing some brief thoughts on Doctor Who Series 7, Episode 9, entitled Hyde. I have to say, I did enjoy this episode quite a bit. I thought there were a lot of cool elements to it and intriguing elements, and most notably would have to be the calling back on that great old horror feel. I felt like for about three-quarters of this episode, you really got that old school horror sense, like classic stories, such as Horror of Fang Rock. That kind of just ominous feel, that was all throughout this episode, I thought, again, for the first three-quarters of it. And the reason I emphasize the first three-quarters of it is because I feel like at some point the Doctor was figuring things out. He figured out it was a pocket universe and all this stuff, and this time traveler. I kind of felt like it lost its edge a little bit, just a tad, for me, but it was no less enjoyable because we still had a lot of stuff going on in this episode that was very intriguing. First and foremost, I got to say the guest casting, Dougray Scott was awesome, playing a professor once again on the coattails of another professor in the last episode, as portrayed by the great actor David Warner. He was a professor. Now we have a professor here. We had the lovely Jessica Raine in this episode. I was just smitten with her playing this psychic, and I thought it was really interesting how she figured out that the Doctor came to see her regarding Clara. I mean, their interaction was really suspect to me. It almost seemed like they had a familiarity between each other. I don't know if it was necessarily just that she was empathic or psychic or whatever. I began to wonder if maybe there was more to it, and I let all the fanboys out there, all the Whovian speculators, go nuts. I mean, I'm sure you guys are picking up on that vibe too, and I'd love to hear what your theories are. But I think one of the most intriguing things was the fact that we had some weird interaction between Clara and the TARDIS in this episode. And I think it's largely arguable as to whether she was piloting the TARDIS or just along for the ride. I mean, she basically convinces the TARDIS to go save the Doctor inside this pocket universe, and that was somewhat intriguing. I also really loved the classic Who callbacks. Now, I was watching this on a mobile device, so I'm not sure if I heard the term Eye of Harmony or not for sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if so, I mean, I was just watching the 1996 TV movie where it's most infamous noted, the Eye of Harmony, earlier today. And then we have, on the coattails of that, probably the worst pronunciation of Metebelis 3 I've ever heard in my life. From the 11th Doctor, Metebelis 3, as he called it, referring to the crystal and all of that stuff. I mean, but I still loved the reference, and I would love to see some payoff where we have a third Doctor encountering him in the 50th anniversary and being like, what's with that? But of course that can't happen. Anyway, I really did enjoy this episode. I would love to hear from you guys, basically, if, it was a win episode for you or not. Did it live up to the same level of excitement by the end of it that Cold War did last week? For me, I'd say about three-quarters of the way through it did. And then we saw at the very end what this monster was, and let me dust off an old one from high school. Boy, was that sucker hoagly. And, yeah, so basically that's my thoughts on Hyde, and I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. And otherwise, that'll be it for me, so I'll catch you later. Peace.